pa mapaniwala. Maraming salamat sa suporta. Sana patuloy yung suporta niyo sa
Alex Eala broke down in tears on center court when the tournament director revealed a priceless secret present in Abu Dhabi, surprising the tennis community. This was more than a single instance. History was being made in real time. The Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open's director did more than laud the Filipino star in a move that sent shockwaves from Manila to Madrid. He declared her to be the greatest young talent he had ever seen, irrevocably altering her life. He then displayed an enigmatic box that, according to insiders, contains a rare gift that has the power to change the WTA's course. Fans everywhere clutched their breath, feeling as though they were watching fate unfold as Alex wailed beneath the desert lights. You must go back to February 2026 at Z Sport City, where Eala didn't just show up, she assaulted the gates, in order to fully comprehend the gravity of this event. Alex arrived in the UAE with a hunger for more after reaching a career-high world rating of number 45 and becoming the first Filipina to ever make it into the top 50. When she fought her best buddy in the first round, she displayed no mercy and won 6-4, 6-3, with brutal accuracy. However, everything changed in the second round. The match appeared to be lost when she fell behind 0-4 in the third set against seasoned giant slayer Alexandra Sasnovich. The audience became quiet. Alex refused to give up even while his detractors prepared their comforting messages. She won in a thrilling tiebreak by clawing back point by point, transforming despair into genius and digging deep into her puso, her indestructible Filipino heart. The stadium blew apart. Chaos ensued. Nigel Gupta, the event director, was enthralled and not simply cheering as he watched from the VIP box. He witnessed something that money couldn't purchase during that comeback. Number 1 in the heart of a future planet. It wasn't merely a win in that contest. In the desert, it was a miracle and a revelation. And the event that permanently altered Alex Eala's course in life. The director realized he was watching the emergence of the next worldwide celebrity after seeing thousands of matches and legends go through his tournament grounds. Alex Eala's recovery from that deficit involved more than just skill and technique. It was about having integrity and not giving up when all reasonable instincts tell you that the game is already over. An accomplished professional, Alexandra Sasnovich has defeated Grand Slam winners and is an expert at ending games under duress. She failed to consider, however, the unwavering determination of a 19-year-old Filipino woman who has spent her whole life overcoming adversity. You must comprehend Eala's path in order to fully appreciate the significance of this event. She didn't come from a wealthy family or a nation with a long history of tennis players. She battled for every chance, scholarship, and wild card, gaining her spot via faith and selflessness. Far from her home, she trained at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Spain, where she learned how to be resilient, compete against the best, and survive. She did win junior Grand Slams, but most people's hopes end on the professional circuit. With so many erstwhile prodigies slogging through qualifications in the hopes of a good break, the WTA is brutal. Eala, however, is unique. You can't teach her anything. Suddenly, there was no denying that ineffable quality, the distinction between good and outstanding. When Alex Eala's pressure surges, she feels ice in her veins. A remarkable capacity to step up when everything is at stake. And Nigel Gupta, a tournament director with over 30 years of experience in the tennis industry, was drawn to that very thing. Then came the moment that took everyone by surprise. Tournament directors typically have calculated, business-like handshakes, courteous smiles, and formulaic compliments. Not this time, though. Not with Alex. An announcement calling for Eala to be at center court reverberated throughout the stadium as she was wiping away her tears and perspiration and packing her luggage following the team's valiant victory over Sasnovich. The audience became quiet. Alex appeared perplexed. Was she having problems? Was there a transgression? It wasn't protocol. This has never happened before. Then Nigel Gupta entered the court, picked up the microphone, and spoke like a fan who had just seen a holy event rather than like a businessman. He looked her in the eye, spoke in a tremulous voice, and said what is now a global trend. Alexandra, I've spent 30 years watching tennis. I've witnessed the greats. However, you are the most gifted young person I have ever seen, Ella. The stadium let forth a gasp. Superior to Emma Raducanu, superior to Coco Gauff, and superior to all the young celebrities crowned by the press. He wasn't done yet. He called her a force of nature, not just a player, and lauded her perfect skill, exceptional tactical vision, and fire and will that intimidate opponents. With Filipino supporters yelling with joy, Alex stood motionless, blushing behind her towel, and her coaches on their feet in shock. Time appeared to stop when Gupta gestured to an assistant. A classy box was brought onto the court. Something very personal, not a check or a trophy. The stadium became so silent that you could hear a pin drop when the director raised it into the light. As phones filmed and cameras flashed, thousands of people held their breath. Everyone was anxious to record an almost surreal moment. The director then spoke in a forceful yet quiet tone. Words don't cost much, Alexandra. What counts are actions. I have something I would want to give you. I've kept a secret gift for a very long time. Awaiting the ideal player. The person who most exemplifies what it means to be a champion. I found her today. Alex Eala's hands were shaking when he put the box in them. Slowly, as though she were opening a precious object, she opened it. And she started crying as soon as she realized what was inside. Her face was filled with tears. She looked from the director to the box and then to her squad in the stands, who were also crying, before her palm went to her lips and she shook her head in shock. She held the box close to her chest as though it were precious. Mouthing only, unable to say, "Thank you. Thank you very much, my God." The feeling was genuine and unadulterated. This was a rare, sincere bond between a man who loves the sport and a woman who is giving up everything to follow her goal. It wasn't a planned moment or a publicity stunt. And now, the tennis community is captivated by the question, what did the box contain? More suspicion has been stoked by the organizer's silence. According to some sources, it was a golden key and an unrestricted wild card pass to all Mubadala-sponsored competitions for the following 5 years. An offer worth millions of dollars that would ensure ranking points, prize money, and sponsor publicity while relieving Ella of the harsh stress of qualifying. There are those who whisper something even more remarkable. The director himself arranged for a living legend, perhaps Roger Federer or Rafael Nadal, to write a personal letter of mentorship, which would allow access to private training sessions with the tennis gods, learn strategy from Federer's brilliance, or become an expert in clay court warfare under Nadal's watchful eye. Access like that is something that money just cannot purchase. Relationships, respect, and the unique capacity to see brilliance before the rest of the world does are all important. However, the most persistent rumor, which is rocking the tennis community, is that the gift is a priceless artifact from the sport's past. A vintage treasure, like a pendant or necklace that was worn during a pivotal victory by a legend like Serena Williams or Billie Jean King, passed on to the following generation as a torch. Consider the significance of that symbolism. It takes more than just jewelry to bring a bit of tennis history onto the court. It serves as a blessing, a duty, and a continual reminder that you are following in the giant's footsteps and could eventually be one of them. The director allegedly referred to it as the key to her destiny, regardless of the facts. And based on Alex Eala's response, it had the greatest impact on her. Money was never the issue here. It has to do with recognition. It has to do with validity. A prominent figure in the sport was seen stating, "I see you," while glancing directly into the eyes of a young athlete. "I have faith in you. You are unique." That type of validation can make a huge difference for someone who has been suffering heartache, doubt, and injuries while battling through the lower divisions for years. The entire planet sensed it. The internet took off. Hashtags such as #LaGift and #TheChosen1 became the most popular in the Philippines and entered the top trends worldwide. Analysts are rushing to describe this endorsement from a major tournament director as utterly unprecedented, saying it puts a target on Alex Eala's back but also gives her armor, sending a clear message to the locker room that she is now the one to beat. This is as both fans and analysts realize they may have just witnessed the birth of tennis's next immortal. Additionally, observe the time. She has advanced to the quarterfinals and will next play the formidable Ekaterina Alexandrova. Do you really believe she will feel worn out or scared after being told she is the best young talent ever and getting a gift that made her cry? No, she will experience an inevitability. Alexandrova is serious business. A top 30 dynamo with numerous WTA titles, a massive serve, powerful ground strokes, and Grand Slam quarterfinal experience. She is the favorite on paper. However, momentum cannot be measured by paper. Belief is not captured on paper. What occurs when a player genuinely feels destined for greatness cannot be measured on paper. This present and this occasion in Abu Dhabi might serve as the impetus for the pivotal moment we frequently discuss. Similar to Serena introducing herself to the public with her first US Open or Djokovic recognizing his leadership potential during the Davis Cup. This may be the moment when Alex Eala went from hope to knowledge, from promise to inevitable. There is no way to overestimate the psychological impact. Tennis requires both cerebral and physical skills. Self-assurance is money. Power comes from belief. The body follows the mind's commitment. The shots become more daring. Battles become more intense. Boundaries vanish. That's what Eala is displaying at the moment. But pressure comes along with recognition. The same voices who are cheering today will be ready to criticize tomorrow. Every game will be scrutinized, and every defeat will be exaggerated. That is the cost of anointing. However, the raw emotion, the vulnerability, and the crying moment on court were genuine. The young athlete was overcome by affirmation after years of arduous work in a sport that can feel harsh and cruel, rather than by hype. We were reminded of the original reason we were drawn to sports. They provide us with transcendental experiences that allow us to see the best of humanity. With hypotheses sprouting on social media, the mystery surrounding the gift continues to enthrall people worldwide. Others think it was a racket used by a legendary player in a famous match. Some believe it was a handwritten note intended solely for one eye from a champion sharing wisdom. There are even hints of long-term funding or sponsorship that is assured. The fact is, there is a certain beauty in the fact that we might never find out if Alex Eala decides to keep it hidden. Not all information must be made public. Not all miracles require an explanation. Certain moments are intended to remain sacred. We do know that this action will have an impact that lasts for years. This narrative will inspire young players everywhere to have a little more faith in themselves. They will see that in a sport that sometimes seems cruel, heart, sacrifice, and tenacity can still be recognized, and that a champion is defined by their journey rather than just their final destination. They will realize that sometimes everything can be changed by just one person having faith in you. Alex Eala's victory in the forthcoming quarterfinal matchup against Ekaterina Alexandrova will be exciting, and she advances to the WTA 500 semifinals, her greatest career achievement, with ranking points that might place her in the top 40 or possibly higher. Furthermore, it would demonstrate that Abu Dhabi's ability to regularly compete with and outperform the game's top players is not an anomaly. Furthermore, this event has already been a huge success, even if she doesn't win. She has gained admirers, gained respect, found faith, and been given a gift that obviously means more to her than any award. The schedule for tennis never slows down. Another game, another city, and another opportunity present themselves. However, some events define careers. Years later, players recall those moments as the turning point in their lives. Abu Dhabi in February 2026 might be that time for Alex. And since this is more than just tennis, we will be present for every game, significant event, and chapter as it develops. This is the beginning of something unique. That is the main goal of Champion Tennis. We share tales in addition to reporting scores. We recognize winners and acknowledge excellence while it is being created. And Alexandra Eala is unquestionably